The thief thought he was invisible, but the quiet cashier had been watching him use counter-surveillance techniques for 15 minutes. When security couldn't spot the threat, the old man behind Register 3 decided it was time to use skills he'd learned in a very different kind of store, one that dealt in secrets instead of groceries. From which city in the world are you watching this story today? If stories like this move you, consider subscribing to Unseen Legends for more tales of quiet heroes walking among us. Tuesday morning, 9:30 a.m. The morning shopping rush had begun at the Publix supermarket in Jacksonville, Florida. Walter Harrison, 67 years old, sat at Register 3 processing customers' groceries. With his grey hair, thick glasses, and green Publix apron, he looked like an ordinary retiree. He had been working at this supermarket for 12 years, and to most customers, he was an invisible figure. Nobody knew Walter's past. To them, he was just friendly Walter, the patient cashier who scanned barcodes, smiled at customers saying "Have a great day," and showed up for work even on holidays. No one knew that between 1985 and 2010, he had been one of the CIA's most valuable intelligence officers. But this morning, something caught Walter's attention. At 9:45 a.m., a man entered the store who immediately registered on Walter's trained eye: navy blue sport jacket, dark jeans, white Nike sneakers. He looked like a normal customer, but his movement patterns carried the signatures Walter had learned to recognize at Langley. The man first checked the store's general exits. Then he noted the positions of security cameras. He picked up a shopping cart, but put nothing in it. He just wandered through the store, pretending to look at products but actually searching for something else. As Walter observed this, his fingers automatically found the silent alarm button under his register. 25 years of intelligence experience told him this man wasn't an ordinary grocery shopper. The man moved to the electronics aisle. He looked at phones but didn't pick up any. His eyes constantly swept the environment. Walter knew the technique he was using: counter-surveillance, a method of checking whether he was being followed. This was exactly when Walter's training from Quantico kicked in. The man was moving professionally, but Walter was more professional. "Mike," he called to the security guard. Mike Rodriguez, 28 years old, was a former cop who had been working at this supermarket for 2 years. Well-intentioned but not accustomed to recognizing such situations. "What's up, Walter?" Mike said as he approached. "Do you see the guy in the navy jacket?" Walter asked quietly. Mike looked. "Which one?" "The one browsing in electronics. He's been here for 15 minutes but hasn't bought anything." "Maybe he's just browsing, Walter. Customers do that." Walter took a deep breath. How could he explain years of experience to young people? "Mike, that man is conducting counter-surveillance. He's checking if he's being followed. He's moving professionally." "Counter what?" Walter paused. There was no time to explain the terminology. The man was about to make his move. "Listen to me carefully. That man is casing our store. He's either planning a heist or something worse. Go tell Manager Johnson." Mike looked skeptical. "Walter, you sure? Guy's just looking at phones." Just then, the man in the navy jacket made his move. He pulled a small device from his pocket. Walter instantly recognized what it was: an RF scanner. He was trying to detect the security system's frequency. "Mike, now," Walter said, the authority in his voice startling the former cop. But it was too late. The man had already used his device to analyze the supermarket's security system. Now he would move to his real plan. Walter stood up from his register. His 67-year-old body protested, but his mind was crystal clear. Reflexes he hadn't used in years were coming back. He followed the man toward the electronics aisle. As he moved, he analyzed the environment: exit routes, customer positions, potential threats. The man had stopped using the RF scanner and pulled out another device from his pocket. Walter recognized this device too: a signal jammer. It was used to disable security systems. "Excuse me," Walter said as he approached. The man turned. He had a warm smile on his face, but his eyes were cold. "Professional." "Yes, sir." "Looking for something specific? Maybe I can help you find it?" "No thanks, just browsing." Walter looked at the device in the man's hand. "Interesting device. Is that the new iPhone model?" The man tensed slightly. He quickly put the device back in his pocket. "It's a specialized model, hard to find." "I see," Walter said in a calm voice. "I used to work with electronics myself. Old habit from my previous job." "What kind of work did you do?" Walter smiled. "Technical specialist. Worked with various devices." The man relaxed. He didn't see this elderly cashier as a threat. "Well, I'll continue shopping then." "Of course, but a word of advice: I wouldn't use that device in here." The man froze. "What do you mean?" "Signal jammers aren't legal in retail establishments. Federal crime, actually." The man's expression changed. Now he was looking at Walter carefully. "I don't know what you're talking about, old man." "RF scanner, and then jammer. Classic pattern. Used to disable security systems. I'm used to seeing these." "You're confused, Grandpa. I think you should go back to your register." Walter smiled. "I'm not confused. And you're not a casual shopper either. You've had professional training. Your movement patterns are very familiar." The man was now completely in defensive mode. "Look, I don't want any trouble. Neither do I. But right now you're committing a federal crime. This supermarket is under federal jurisdiction. You don't know what you're talking about." "Maybe, but I worked for the CIA for 25 years. I'm used to dealing with operatives like you. The man's face changed. Shock, then respect, then calculation. CIA, retired, but muscle memory never dies. You're a professional operative, but you're doing sloppy work. I'm not, you are. And right now you have two choices. Either pack up your devices and leave, or wait for the FBI to arrive. The man hesitated. He might have thought Walter was bluffing, but he didn't want to take the risk. This is ridiculous. I'm just shopping. Really? Then explain the jammer in your pocket. The man was surprised. How did he know about additional equipment? I speak multiple languages. Operational requirement. Your accent has Eastern European traces, probably Russian or Polish trained. That's when everything changed. The man suddenly attacked Walter. He moved fast, but Walter was ready. Despite being 67 years old, his reflexes were still sharp from active duty. Walter grabbed the man's arm and used leverage to bring him to the ground. The movement was so smooth that nearby customers didn't understand what had happened. Stay down, Walter said in a calm voice. Don't move. Mike Rodriguez came running. Walter, what the hell? This man is a federal suspect. He has jammers in his pocket and was casing the store. Are you serious? Dead serious. Call the police and contact the FBI. This is part of a big operation. The man on the ground muttered. You have no idea what you've done, old man. Walter looked down. Actually, I do. Your advance team, you were doing reconnaissance for a bigger heist. But here's the problem. You chose the wrong store. Manager Johnson came running. Walter, what's going on? Federal situation, Johnson. This man was casing the store. Professional criminal. How do you know all this? Walter hesitated. He had to reveal the secret he'd kept for 12 years. Because I used to catch people like him for a living. That's when Walter Harrison's double life ended. For 12 years he had maintained his perfect cover. Ordinary cashier, friendly neighborhood guy, helpful employee. But in reality, Walter Harrison was one of the CIA's most successful counterintelligence operatives. After the Cold War, he had tracked Eastern European crime syndicates, Russian mafia, Polish smuggling rings, Czech money laundering operations. He had infiltrated each one from the inside. After retirement, he had wanted a quiet life. He moved to Jacksonville, took a simple job, buried his past. But this morning, his past had found him. When police arrived, they found sophisticated surveillance equipment on the man. Professional-grade jammers, RF scanners, encrypted communication devices. This wasn't a casual shopping trip. It was the reconnaissance phase of a major operation. FBI agent Sarah Chen was shocked when she interviewed Walter. Mr. Harrison, your file shows a remarkable service record. Why didn't you report this earlier? Because I'm retired, Agent Chen. I've been living a quiet life for 12 years. But you recognized the threat immediately. Training never goes away. Patterns, behaviors, equipment, recognizing these becomes second nature. Sir, we believe this was advanced scouting for a major retail theft ring. Multi-state operation. Your intervention probably prevented a significant crime. Walter nodded. The man was professional but sloppy, probably underestimated American security. How did you know he was foreign trained? Movement patterns, communication style, equipment choice. KGB-style training has fingerprints. Agent Chen was impressed. Sir, would you consider consulting with us? Your expertise could be valuable. Walter thought for a moment. For 12 years he had lived a simple life. Peaceful, predictable, safe. But this morning's incident showed he still had valuable skills. I'll think about it. The following week, when Walter returned to Publix, everything was different. His colleagues looked at him differently. A mixture of respect, awe, and curiosity. Manager Johnson approached. Walter, the FBI called me. Your background is incredible. The past is past, Johnson. I'm still the same Walter. But why a grocery store? As a CIA operative, you could have worked anywhere. Walter smiled. Sometimes, the best hiding place is in plain sight. Plus, I like helping people, whether in a grocery store or as a secret agent. Young cashier Emily asked, Mr. Walter, did you really catch spies? Different time, Emily. Different world. But the principles are the same. Watch carefully. Trust your instincts. Protect innocent people. Mike Rodriguez shook his head. Man, I worked security for 2 years and missed everything. You spotted him in minutes. Experience, Mike. Plus, you're a good security guard. You just need to know what to look for. Would you teach me? Walter considered. Maybe the next chapter of retirement could be teaching. Transferring skills to young people. Sharing experience. Sure, Mike. First lesson, always trust your gut. Second lesson, patterns matter more than individual actions. Agent Chen's offer remained in Walter's mind. Maybe he could do part-time consulting. He didn't want his skills to rust, but he didn't want to return to full-time field work either. He needed time to find the perfect solution. But for now, Walter Harrison was content. His 12-year cover had been blown, but he had found a new identity. Retired spy who catches bad guys between scanning groceries. The most unusual employee at Jacksonville Publix. The man who catches criminals while scanning barcodes. And the truth was, Walter loved both. Sometimes the most extraordinary people hide in the most ordinary places. Men like Walter scan barcodes in grocery stores, but their eyes still scan for threats. Their skills don't rust, their training doesn't go dormant. The next time you see someone who appears to be an ordinary employee, remember, they might be protecting you in ways you never imagined. Have you ever met someone who appeared ordinary but had an extraordinary background? Tell us in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories about quiet heroes like Walter Harrison, subscribe to Unseen Legends, because sometimes the best protection is found waiting behind a cashier in a grocery aisle. This story is a work of fiction created to honor the spirit of service. Any resemblance to actual persons or events is purely coincidental.